everyone. Welcome to another live stream on We Can Do This. My name is Julie, and I appreciate you being here with me today, where we talk about all kinds of different topics that I hope is of interest to you, things that happen to us in our daily lives, and I bring my experience to it to hopefully help you a little bit in yours as well. I am glad to be back this week. I had some technical difficulties last week, and I'm having a little bit today, but we're going to talk about that in one of the points we discuss. So today, I want to first off remind you to subscribe and save. And if you know anyone who would appreciate the live streams I'm doing and maybe be able to help them, please feel free to share my live stream with them. I do post on Facebook every week after I'm done broadcasting. And I also need to give you a disclaimer that I am not a medical professional. I have no professional training in the medical field. I am not a doctor. I'm not a physician of any type. I am only me. I am a regular day-to-day person who is just bringing things that I've been through to you in the hopes that maybe I can help you as well. So the topic today could not be more ironic from what happened last week and why I didn't broadcast and why I was a couple minutes today broadcasting. So let's get started talking about patience, and in particular, why patience is leaving us as we get older. And I can tell you, I have noticed this in myself. Seems like as time is going on, I just have no patience or tolerance for certain things, a lot less than what I used to. And maybe you're seeing the same thing. And, while we're going through these different topics today, I ask you to think about your life. The points that we're talking about, are these things that really bother you too? Are these things that you just don't have patience for anymore? Think back. Before when you were younger, did you? And now have you noticed a really severe change, but you didn't really notice it or see it until now? So let's get into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is drama and gossip. Now, I can tell you I am over it. I have been in the workplace over 30 years, and I can honestly tell you drama and gossip are some of the worst things that go on in a company. I hate it. I hate drama. I hate gossiping about others. And every time somebody says something about somebody else, by the time it gets to you, the story's been changed 10 times because everybody wants to, make it sound bigger than what it is and make it more interesting. And, we like to look at everybody else's life, how bad it is versus our life just to make ourselves feel better. And I hate that. I have no tolerance for that anymore, you guys. I don't know about you, and I'm sure you've all seen it, but I'm so over it. The next thing that I really, really have no time for is unreliable people. You have these people that break their promises to you all the time. They never show up. If they show up at all, they're late. The way life is now, I run on a schedule. I'm here, I'm going with it. I have very little tolerance or acceptance for people who don't respect my time and everybody else's time. You need to make yourself close to people that you can rely on and that they can rely on you. Keep those people close to you. Those type of people these days are diamonds in the rough. Now, I'm not saying there might be times where things happen that they can't show up, but at least they would communicate it with you. Stick close to those types of people. Don't surround yourself with the other type because you don't need that in your life. You don't have time for that. None of us do. So the next point I'm going to talk about is one thing I have absolutely no patience for. I've dealt with this all my life. I can't stand it. I can't tolerate it, but it's part of my life It's part of all our lives, and it is inefficient technology. Now, when I say inefficient technology, I'm not only talking about like laptops, computers, anything that cars, anything that is computerized now that is totally complex, you can't figure it out. But it's more than just that. I'm talking about all types of technology, specifically in my case, software, and here's why. Last week, and I won't say their name, but I use a particular software program to do my broadcasts on. Well, when I got in last week to get my broadcast set up, I tried to get into my studio. It was gone. My account was totally gone. It took me all week and communications via email that were frustrating in its own way. And I finally got it resolved. I looked this morning and it was finally resolved. So that's how I'm back at you again. But a lot of my settings were gone. I had to reset everything. I had to reset my screen up, all my studio stuff. So I'm thinking there was some type of a software upgrade. And we've all seen them in our companies where whenever they do software upgrades, everybody's going to say, oh, it's going to be so much better, so much more efficient. But how many times have you gotten into the new software or the upgraded software and found that stuff you had in there is missing, gone, is harder to do actually than easier? I have absolutely no patience for software anymore. I'm good with hardware. But software, I am so frustrated with it. And here's the other thing too. Another thing about technology. And we'll talk about this in communications. I'll hold that off. So the next thing we're going to talk about is poor time management. It is vital that you have a schedule. Now, I'm not saying you can't go away from that schedule or make adjustments to it, but we always feel like time is not on our side. So organization, making it a habit is very important to us. We know our time's limited, and we don't want to spend time on unimportant things. We want to spend time on things that bring us happiness. So when we see poor management around us, and I won't give any specifics here, but when we see poor management around us, whether it's time or just somebody's way of doing things, it's really frustrating, and, sometimes you just got to go with the punches with that, but it's just, ooh. All right. Now this next one, I never really thought about it, but it is so true. As I've gotten older, like when I was younger, I would love to go out to noisy bars with my friends. I had no qualms about driving down to Pittsburgh to go to, different venues that aren't around where I am at. I used to the world was my oyster, and I didn't mind loud noises and traffic and, that type of environment. Now I absolutely detest it. I absolutely hate loud noises, all of it. I really much prefer a peace and quiet environment. I cannot stand traffic sounds. I can't stand construction. I can't stand cities. They're loud, they're obnoxious, and they just ain't happening for me. I'm not having it. So there's my 2 cents on that one. Now, this next one, I know that we've all seen, and it really, really bothers me, and maybe it bothers you too. Think of a time where you did not receive respect. I find it very intolerable to not be given respect. When I feel like I have done my time, I have been around a long time. I've worked really hard to be who I am and where I'm at in my life, both personally and professionally. And I feel like I have earned a certain level of respect. When someone is very disrespectful, I hate it. It's just very disgusting. And the lack of respect that we see in today's world, there's not too much of it, is there? We all see it everywhere. So that's a big one. Another big one, I think, for me too. Now, I could not wait to mention this next one, and there's a reason why. So the next thing that I don't have patience for is uncomfortable clothing. Now, let me say a little bit about this one. I get really flustered, and it really bugs me when people say, Julie, you need to dress for success. You don't dress for success. You know, you know, I need to be wearing these, straight up and down suits and fancy blouses and, silk and, you know, dresses and high heels. And no, no, that's not me. That's never been me. I am at a place in my life. I'm not dressing for success because I consider myself successful where I am right now. I'm happy where I am right now. And I can tell you that I dress for comfort. Obviously, I'm wearing a hoodie. I wear comfortable clothes. I wear what makes me happy. I have very little tolerance for people and no patience for people who pick to treat you the way they treat you just because of what you wear on the outside. Those are usually very shallow people who don't look at who I am from the inside. And quite frankly, it's their loss. If you just want to like me for my clothes, that ain't happening. I'm going to dress for me. I'm always going to dress for me. And I'm going to do what I like. It's my life. And I deserve to be happy. You deserve to be happy. Wear what makes you comfortable. Now, I'm not saying go into work in your jammies. I'm not saying that in your bunny slippers. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying whatever your code is at work, find what's comfortable for you, not for the higher ups and not for the shallow people. Yeah, not happening. So the next one kind of goes back to the loud noises, and it's traffic jams. Now, I hate the city. I hate traffic. I hate it all. And what's funny is, it's the last thing with everything we're going through in life, the last thing we really want to deal with in life. I mean, how big is road rage these days? How many times do you find yourself sitting in your car just yelling and screaming and maybe even cursing, at another car, or you're just totally not, patience is gone. It's gone. You've just been drained of all of it. And I have to admit, it's not terrible for me right now, but it is worse than it was, and here's why. I used to, in my previous job, I drove all country roads. There was no one in my way. I had no car, going a speed in front of me. If they were going slow, it didn't annoy me. Now I go the opposite direction to a different workplace. And I am in the country when I start out, but then the rest of it is all town, not city, but town driving. So I have to depend on other drivers in front of me or coming from a different direction. I have traffic lights. I have stop signs. I have crazy drivers. I have it all. So it is very much a work in progress for me to get used to it. Not really liking it. Don't have too much patience for it, but it could be worse. So I'm working on it. But it's hard to go to that after having it good for a long time. Okay. Brace yourself. Here it is. You knew I was going to go there. Poor communication. This kind of coincides with the technology we already talked about. I don't know about you, but today's world is so into technology. We communicate on phones. We communicate on the internet. We communicate in all different ways, but not so much in person. When I was growing up, I didn't have a phone. Everybody went to the office. That's just what you did. Everything was in person. Communication was much better. Now today, you find yourself talking to computers a lot of times. And a lot of the younger generations, they don't know how to communicate properly. And some of their grammar is just horrendous. It's like, don't you people want to talk to each other? And here's the other thing, and I know you're going to agree with me on this one. How many times have you tried to call a company? You get that automated voice and you have to pick one, two, three. Have to pick an option. And then you get the next automated voice and you got to do it again and again. And have you ever had the call cut off after you're done doing that? Or you've been waiting on hold for a while after going through the automatic crap and all of a sudden your phone call dies and you have to start all over again. No patience. No patience, my friends. Not any so ever. And I know you all complain about it too. It's communications is a big one for me. I like I said, I went through it this week with the company I was trying to work with to start broadcasting again. It just drives me bonkers. With my online pharmacy, that's a lot of fun. Whether it's your health company, doctors, whoever, it's everywhere, isn't it? All right. Now this next one, I don't know if it's really a patience thing, but I saw it mentioned in my research, so I'm going to bring it up. Maybe you guys can relate to this a little more than me, but it's poor health habits. As we get older, we tend to get a lot sicker easier. We tend to have very slow metabolisms versus when we were younger. And we have a lot more ability to get serious illnesses. Our immune systems are not our friend, and we need to be vigilant in taking care of ourselves even more so than when we were younger. And let's face it, with all these different sicknesses and illnesses globally that's been going on the last handful of years in particular, it's tough out there. I don't know though if it's really a patience thing for me though. It's not even really. It is what it is, but at the same time, if you're taking care of yourself, the only thing I have a lack of patience in is other people who spread it. Maybe I'll just leave it at that, and we'll move on to the next. This next one, I'm sorry, I'm laughing because it's really funny, and this is a big one for me. That I honestly and truly, from the depths of my heart and soul, I have no patience for, and it makes my head want to explode. It is standing in long lines. When there are long queues anywhere, and I'm not talking about amusement parks, you kind of expect it there. But I am telling you that I have less patience when I go food shopping. Oh, good grief. Do you ever find they never have enough checkouts going on open, and you're standing in this long line? I find my blood starting to boil. I have no patience after I've just gone through the whole store, gone through all that mess of trying to pick my poison to bring home. Then I have to stand and wait. And it takes forever because they're doing away with self-checkouts, and we all know why, and I'm not going to go into it here. I cannot stand long queues. Can't stand it. Banks, stores. No. Not having it. Okay, and then we've got unresolved conflicts. Now, this one really bothers me because we were always taught that you were allowed to have differences of opinion because we're all different. And that you don't start arguments. You don't fight over differences of opinion. You listen and you be respectful about it. I'll give myself as an example. I'm a buyer, so I'm in purchasing. But I've learned over the years that I need to pay attention to engineers, to quality people, to customer service individuals. All of them have a very different vision of a situation versus what I do. And they listen to me as well. You see things from a different perspective. But today, Everybody just wants to fist fight and argue and yell and criticize. And I see it on social media all the time. And I'm not going to mention any particular topics because there's obviously more than one, but you guys are knowing what I'm talking about. Everybody bashes everybody else on social media if you have your own opinion or a different opinion from somebody else. That's crazy. And that's really disrespectful. We all have our own opinions, our own points of view, and our own visions. Have some patience, people. Listen to other people. You don't need to get that way. Be respectful. Be nice. Be courteous. If someone doesn't have the same opinion as you, so be it. They're allowed. We're all allowed. There's no need to argue and fight and be very, very disrespectful. I have no patience for that whatsoever, and I think it's really, really disgusting. So don't do that. Ugh, I can't stand it, and it's a big one for me. And negative attitudes goes right along with that. You know, how many times have you been around people? They're just negative, like all the time. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say I was like that for quite a while. It was because of the environment I was in my previous places of employment. So I was a victim of the environment that I was in and some of the people that was causing the way that I felt being negative. But I never quit fighting to make things better. I never quit trying. I never stopped wanting to make things better. I kept trying to find ways to make myself happier. Life is too short. Guys, life is too short. You know, we need to remember, keep the little things that make you happy close to your heart. Life is too short to be miserable all the time. You know, I have no patience with people who just live on being miserable. You know, they're so pessimistic, or narcissists. They thrive on being unhappy and they want to bring you there with them. That just does not go over well with me. These people, that's the way they live. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, do you know someone like that? That's like that, and you just can't stand to be around them. There've actually been some people I've shut out of my life because I don't need that. I'm around enough negativity, but I have grown and I have learned to find ways and find those little things during the day that I bring myself back to. I call it going back to square one. Remember the little things that do make you happy. And those are the things that can help you. But some people just ain't there. And that just ain't me. Poor planners. Poor planners goes right along with lack of unorganization, with that organization. I can't even tell you how crazy this makes me. Like I said before, we're creatures of habit. I don't even know what to say about it. I'm just going to leave it there. Overcomplication. Now, this one's kind of a weird one too, that I never really thought about. Until I actually experienced it the last couple months of my new job. And I'm sure people have gotten impatient with me, and I get that. I'm doing a lot of learning. I'm in a new industry. I'm in a new company. I have new people that I'm working with, new software, new technology. And sometimes people just want to make things harder than what they actually are. And I've actually done that a couple times at my new job because I didn't understand. It was part of the learning curve. And I would look at the other people and I'd go, I was just making this a lot more complicated than what it was. But have you ever met somebody who does that? Like they just make things they put a lot more levels to things that just don't need to be there. It just drives me crazy. That just absolutely frustrates me and drives me crazy. Don't overthink things. These people just overthink things. Don't do that. All right. And then we got to talk about clutter. Clutter and disorganization. How many times have we seen people, whether it's their homes or whether it's their desks at work, they just have piles of papers everywhere, everywhere. Or if you go into their home, there's just stacks of stuff. We've all seen the shows about hoarders, but I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about regular disarray. We've walked into houses before and it just kind of blows your mind. It's like, how in the world can these people live like this? Now, my home, it's no castle. It's a very small little ranch house. I'm very proud of it. I earned it myself. I worked really hard for it. And it's not neat as a pin. It is clean, but it's not overly neat. But it is lived in, and it's homey, and it's comfortable. And yes, I have some areas of clutter, but I have a small house. So it's very limited to where it is. It's not my whole house from the second you get in to my door to the other wall at the other end of the house. They say that people who live in clutter and disarray, that is the way their entire life is. I don't even know how you'd live like that. I can't even wrap my brain around that. Ugh. Who wants to live like that? Okay, and the final thing that we're going to talk about is bad manners. Now, I think this has been an argument, and I've heard it for years, based on generation to generation, the older generation versus the younger generation. We have all been dealt, each generation has been raised with very different definition of what manners are. And we all see it. And I remember back when I was younger, my grandparents, they probably thought I was a unmannered child, because I was the younger generation at the time. And I have to say that certain parts of certain generations are very rude. They're very rude. They don't have any definition whatsoever of what the word manner even is. I don't know if they don't own a dictionary, or their upbringing was, different or whatever it is. But I think it's something that absolutely gets lost in translation between the generations. Respect is a virtue. Having manners is a virtue. The need that the fact that we have to have patience whenever around bad manners and are expected to just go along with it and ignore it is pretty disgusting. I really have no patience or tolerance for that. We all deserve to be treated with respect and have manners in public, especially. So that's it. Those are some of the things that as we get older, our patience is just waning. We're just not having some stuff. I fully admit it. And I'm sure you saw in some of the things we've talked about today that you're not having it either. And you're going like, yeah, you're right. I do see that. And I do notice a difference in myself from when I was younger to now. So I hope that you've seen that, and it just maybe opened your eyes a little bit. And maybe you're going to see things from a different perspective now that we've talked about it. So as we say, as that's all being said, please remember to subscribe and hit that like button below. And I'm going to give you a teaser for next week. And my topic next week is a topic that really bothers me as well. But I really wanted to talk about it, and it's about mistakes. These days when we make mistakes, how much are we criticized and talked down to? Mistakes are not a bad thing. And we're going to talk about that next week, why they're not a bad thing. So join me then, and we'll talk about it. So, with that being said, you got my teaser. You got my 2 cents for the day. So we're going to do the ending now, as we always do. Because, we can do this. We got this. I can and I will. You will too. I believe in you. Believe in yourself. You've earned it. And you deserve it. You matter. You are very important. Never forget that. So, with that said, my friends, thank you for hanging with me today. Have a great rest of the weekend. Have an awesome week next week. Stay safe, take care, and I will see you next week. As they say, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, bye bye, my friends. Take care.